6:30. I appreciate everybody being here, and I'm going to establish a quorum, and I do have 4 of my 5 directors here, so that quorum has been established. And looking around the room, we don't have any visitors that I think want to make public comment. We do have the press here. We appreciate you being here. And as one of our visitors, we have the city manager of Hondo, Naron. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
So we appreciate you being here, and we're going to talk to you in a few minutes. And once again, no other public that needs to comment. What I would like to do, folks, is take item number 7 on the agenda and move it up ahead of number 4 as a courtesy to John so that we can get him home. He's already been sitting here a little while. So anyway, item number 7 is discussion and or action on the purchase of the land on Austin Avenue out the air base. I think all of us are familiar with that. So anyway, I'm going to turn that over to Johnette and John to kind of fill in where we are.
Okay. He and the economic development person,
Douglas,
yeah,
okay.
director, had contacted me. They wanted to introduce themselves, and so we were talking about some other stuff, and I just happened to bring up that since Mr. Herrera was gone, I had not heard anything else, and even prior to that, after Jessica was gone, I hadn't heard anything, and so we started discussing about bringing back up the purchase of the land out on the airbase, and so then I will let him go forth with that.
From everything I've looked at, we're very, very close to getting the deal done. Our attorney has suggested that we move forward with something, basically a way to sell the property to you directly, but there would be a reverter clause, which, from my understanding from Johnette, that the board appears to that's not exactly desirable, which is understandable. I mean, I completely understand. What I'm proposing to our attorney is that we do something called a 380 agreement. This is something I've done before. I've not had any issues with. However, different attorneys, different opinions. You know how that works, but short answer that he gave me tonight was yes. But of course we've got to delve into a little bit, and of course with council approval. But what this type of agreement would allow us to do is to sell that property to relatively at or very close to the appraisal rate, which you have an appraisal already completed from I believe it's March of 2023, so fairly close. I wouldn't have a problem with that, but of course we have to check with our attorney. And then you would be allowed to buy at amount based off of, let's say you're going to invest X amount of capital investment within X number of years, which I'll work with you guys on that. I understand that you have to get all your approvals and everything. And let's just say 3. Let's just say in 3 years. And let's say your building is going to cost $300,000. So I would say if you're going to do $250,000 of improvements on the property within 3 number of years, and you're going to hire X number of employees. And so we do, let's say 75% of the people that you already employ. We want to put that in there just in case you release somebody or something changes, and the same thing with a little bit lower than what you're planning to build, just in case you have to kind of shrink things a little bit. It happens. And then if you do this, which this should happen when we give you your certificate of occupancy, because you have A, spent the money and finished the building, and then B, the employees are ready to start, we would turn the deed over to you, and because you satisfied your obligations. If you didn't, then it would revert back to the city, which I'm sure if you're moving this far that you're going to go through with it and everything. That's how I would like to do it, because it gets rid of the reverter clause. The only other way to do it without the reverter clause would be to actually kind of the usual method, or one of the ways is just the bid, and the bid process is kind of long, and what if somebody else wants it? So like I said, I'm a fan of this way of doing things, because especially working with appraisal district, county, I kind of want to try to get those establish better relationships so we can collaborate more. And I think this is a great opportunity to not only improve the property, but also a little goodwill from us, showing that we're trying to accommodate you the best we can. And we'd love to see you build a new building out there and establish a presence in what hopefully will soon be a bustling industrial part of town.
We were given an opportunity to purchase through the process one of 2 tracks. We went and did our due diligence. Several of us went out there with staff, and we chose one, did our due diligence with the city on utilities, etc. And we chose which one we wanted.
Yes,
and I think it's even been surveyed, if I'm not mistaken. Would it be the same track that we have approved and that fits our needs?
Yes, sir, and that's the one directly north of the
Health and Human Service.
that
Yeah.
Either one of them actually would be, I think would be perfectly fine. I'd feel comfortable bringing it to the council. But that position, I mean, I think it's a good spot. I think you chose a good spot, and again, I mean, I don't see any issue with it. I think this is one of those slam dunks for everybody involved. We'll get a nice, pretty building out there, and you'll get somewhere to work that's a little out of the way, and at the same time, you get out of all this wood paneling. So.
No, I think with the growth, this is what works for us, and we need to work not only for the city of Hondo, but for the citizens of Medina County. Yes, sir.
Okay, if what John is talking about, the city would be holding the deed until the building is complete?
Until the building is complete.
So what does that do to us finance-wise? And with you being the person that knows all the bankers.
I will continue to be your liaison and help you going forward.
Okay.
But the quirk in the law in the state of Texas says appraisal districts cannot pledge collateral on a loan.
Okay.
And so we will have to find a way, and I've already lined up community bankers. 4 different banks all said they would do 25% of it on an unsecured basis.
Okay.
So
deed's not
so
the
then you
issue.
don't have the issue there.
Okay.
They would certainly have to, you know, the appraisal district is gonna be committed to the note, but it would be on an unsecured basis. So we've kind of run the traps on that, and we should have that taken care of going forward.
Okay.
But we still would have to, you know, we have attorneys also, so we'll have to find a way to work and understand when the deed would be, you know, upon completion of the building or whatever.
Yes, sir.
At the same time we obtained our occupancy certificate, we would be getting our deed, is what I think it's gonna be structured.
Yes,
So
sir.
I would think that's workable if you all made that proposal back to us, so we could have it reviewed and approved.
And so next step, I would bring this idea to the council, and again, like I said, this is the way I'm used to doing things. However, I have to 100% check with the attorney and then make sure the council's okay with it. But again, I see this as a slam dunk project. We'll figure out a way. You know, I do not think the council would have an issue with it. I mean, I think this should be easy peasy. In a perfect world with no attorneys, we'd probably have it done in a heartbeat. But at the same time, I will tell you this: the communication will be there, and I'll work with you to get it done as much as I can.
That sounds great.
All right. Well, thank you all. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
As we move forward, John, if you need any more details or you don't find the file is complete when you knock the dust off of it from the previous administration,
Yes,
please let the staff here know what you need and they'll fill in the blanks.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. It was
Thank you.
great to meet all of you. And if you need anything, you know where I am.
All right, thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you all as well.
I and the board that will be active going into next year look forward to working with you.
Yes.
All
All
right.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can go out that back door.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the most promising news on that we've heard in more than half a year, so that all makes sense to you all?
It does to me, but the numbers that he's talking about as far as employees and,
He was making an example.
right, but we don't have to like go adding a bunch of staff is what I'm.
I don't think so. The way he made it sound earlier, he would like set it as, like what we've got now is what we have to hire or even less. And then what we're planning to build or less.
Okay.
He's not gonna put extravagant numbers out there that we can't reach.
Okay.
I mean, the chances are at some point we'll have to hire more staff, but right now, no.
Right.
Yeah,
And
it's,
we have a long longevity,
so long
that's
as
one
it's not an
priority.
economic development grant or program that we have to double our staff or do something like that, I think it would be very workable. Any other comments on that matter? If not, I would like to go back to item number 4, which is approval of the September 12th, 2023 meeting minutes. And those were sent to you in your packet. Did y'all see any corrections or issues that need to be resolved?
I did not, Mr. President, I move to approve the minutes of the minutes.
And a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor of the motion to approve September's minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Moving on to item number 5, approval of the financial report, which is also in your package, and I'm going to turn that over to Johnette to walk us through. This is through what date?
November 7th.
Okay, perfect.
So through that part, we were either at, we're at 81.9% of budget, so we should be fine to finish out November and into December.
And
The
you,
ARB is the main thing that we went over a little bit on computer service. But we have several items that are under budget, so it should be a wash as far as final end of the year.
and all of our
And
projected
every-
income has been received.
Everyone is paid, yes.
Okay, perfect. Any concerns or questions, board, that y'all would like to address?
I'm okay.
Y'all good?
Yes.
Okay, pretty straightforward. We're far enough into the year that if you're not over budget and don't anticipate being over budget on your expenses, that's a good thing and a comfortable thing.
Yeah.
I would entertain a motion to approve the financial report as read.
I so moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor of financial report, please say aye. Very good. Okay, in your packet, and if you saw it online, it's pretty long, but it's the information on the GIS contract going forward, and I'm gonna turn that over to Johnette as well.
I didn't see a whole lot of difference in what the availabilities were for each one.
The availabilities as far as.
As what services they would
Oh,
provide,
okay.
what we would need from them and what they can do for us.
How does this price compare
They're-
to what you've done in the past?
Well, this is a new, we had a position, this is Jesse's
Oh, okay,
position.
all right,
This is replacing an employee.
because last year we just had 7,500.
Right, that was
Okay.
just for the ESRI license, the
Okay.
7,500. So this would be to do what Jesse was doing.
Okay.
And I think we can go with the bid that we got from BIS for the 28,000 versus the 45,000. And get what we need out of it.
Y'all have studied it, and you and your staff were
I haven't
comfortable
studied it
recommending?
real hard, but I read through it.
BIS is what we currently use, correct?
We have, BIS is our IT company,
Yeah,
but they do not do the GIS part, the mapping. This would be the mapping itself.
no,
Cutting in the parcels on our map, keeping our map up to date with ownership and that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Or will they have somebody that comes on site
It'll all be done,
periodically?
it'll all be done, online.
From my experience being a realtor and dealing with your staff, there's been many, many times that I come in and say this parcel just sold and I would help your staff understand what the deed was, or maybe bring them a survey or something. So there will be some contact person here that somebody could show that to, and then they would get it back to your contractor.
Right,
Okay.
right, yeah.
Because I think that's real beneficial to get it done right when you'll see a
Right.
deed,
Yeah.
to make sure you understand how something was divided. But you'll have a designated point of contact if somebody walks in the door with that information.
Is this gonna be for the interim, like, until you replace the
For now, I
body
know
or?
this would be in replacing them. It's more cost effective to do this than to hire somebody.
So if I understood correctly, we're already using GIS,
Right.
but in a much smaller capacity than
It's-
what we're,
One person doing it now, we would be basically contracting out his job to BIS.
to the, okay.
And if this is, we have a budget already approved for next year.
So
You
it
will
would
be
come out of
proposing
his,
to we
it'll come out of
would
his
amend
salary.
it and come out of salary and increase that?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
His portion of the salary would be taken to pay for,
Okay.
The
And
GIS.
his salary was greater than this
Mhm.
contract? So,
it was greater than either one of them.
By about 16, 17,000
Okay.
dollars.
Yeah,
And no benefit package too.
right, yeah.
So there's
If you
another
include
savings.
benefits, yeah, we're saving even going with them, we'd save close to 20,000. And
but
so
looking
then-
at one, if not both of these programs, I don't know where read, but it looks to me like many of the appraisal districts in the state of Texas have gone to this rather than have in-house.
In-house staff.
And you've
Yeah,
talked to some
We were
of,
fortunate to have somebody, but most all of them contracted out now.
okay. And you're familiar and have talked to some of the other chief appraisers, and it works very well.
I mean, they've got their system where, the deeds and stuff will go. Like right now, Claudia is keep setting aside all of the splits because we haven't been able to do them. So that'll be the first thing is we send that bunch of splits and they'll get those updated. And then the new subdivision, I think there's one that's come in place since Jesse left, and so they'll get that put in there.
So part of the contract, if it went into effect, I don't remember the effective date, includes your backlog.
Mhm.
They knew that.
Yes,
they did
they
it.
knew, yeah, I told them when I talked to them
Okay.
that we have already been holding stuff to the side. Because they knew, Jesse actually may possibly be going to work for BIS.
He may
So-
be doing it anyway.
Okay.
Doing ours anyway.
Do they, is there verbiage in here that talks about is it unlimited transactions that you can send them, or is it?
I think it is. I don't think there was a limit on the amount of transactions. I didn't see anything.
I guess that'd be something to look at, cause 45,000 might turn into 90 real quick, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think that would be a good recommendation from Jody to make sure you have that clarification before you sign that contract,
Okay,
okay?
I'll verify with them. Because we have probably about 2,500 deeds that are filed a year. So if anything, it'd be at least, 2,500 of transactions there, and then just depending on how many subdivisions. But I did not see anything where there was an amount.
We'll just verify that.
Okay.
If we
Is this for
approve
a
this,
certain amount of?
I think it's gonna be subject to you not signing a contract that is open-ended, that,
Right.
that could change. We want it to be a firm contract.
Okay.
And if one doesn't do it, then we call
We'll go
the other
with
one, and I think the board would rather take the higher price one rather than giving up open-ended checkbook to the cheaper one.
Okay,
So,
yeah, I'll verify with that, and then,
did y'all get a chance, or y'all understand what the recommendation from staff is?
So are we talking about then,
They're talking about using this one instead of the Harris. Is what-
replacing Harris with?
Well, we don't
No,
have,
no,
either
no.
one. These are two bids. we're not using either one of these services now.
We have our CAMA package is Harris right now, which is our appraisal package. We have with Harris Government. We have all of our IT, internet, all of that stuff is with BIS right now.
Okay.
So we do business with both of these companies right now. They just neither one do our GIS, which is our mapping.
Okay. Well, I got that.
Yeah, I'm looking at this on page 9 under the GIS maintenance data process. And it's, unless I'm not
Does
reading
it
this,
have an amount or doesn't?
it says that if paper documents are sent to BIS, scanning will be charged at an hourly rate by BIS to client so that it may be uploaded into BIS's system. And then it's, so there's, I mean, something to look at there. And then in the second paragraph, it also addresses that there's like, we get 10 hours per month for parcel maintenance. And if we use those up and we still need some more, there may
Okay, so
be
that's what I was looking for. I missed that. Oh,
Additional-
That's what I was looking for, the extra cost.
yeah, an additional rate. So those are kind of some points we want to look at.
Right.
Well, it looks, you know. So I think,
It's a little bit unorthodox to give an approval for your choice, but one way may be for us to authorize them accepting either one of these based on the recommendation or the determination of you and your staff, and we can max it out, because it may be the more expensive one in the long run is better.
Because it's
Oh,
better.
sure. Yeah, and I'm just looking under the Harris government, very last page, number 8. The GIS professional services agreement will be provided upon request and based on the final selection process. Is that professional services agreement? That might spell out exactly what's going on, you know?
But because this is time sensitive, we need to get one of these two hired and get them working, and we don't meet very often.
Right.
I think I would suggest that you all consider making a motion to authorize them to hire the better of these two choices at a cost not to exceed $50,000, which is still less than the salary and the compensation package of what this replaces. So I think that would, budgetary wise and management wise, make good sense for the district to go in that direction.
I'm good with that.
I don't have a problem with that either, but find out all the little,
Get all the little
Yeah, you'll
details.
need to do your
yeah,
homework.
because otherwise it winds up being a big,
Yeah, I mean, this, like you said, this
Surprise.
one could end up costing more than this one in the long run.
Yeah.
Another thing too is, I mean, a year-to-year contract. Yeah.
I think so.
and what is the price difference between the two?
Right, I
It was
think
36
right about
and one was-
20,000. One's 28.6 and the other one was 45.9, I think.
And which one's which?
BIS is 28.6 and Harris is 45.9.
And we're
45.99.
talking about doing the same thing?
Yeah, there's
Yes.
bound to be some add-ons with it.
Well, that's why we need to be able to analyze the two.
yeah,
So if we gave an approval of even, like I said, $50,000 for them to choose one of their, because when they calculate it, one may end up being a different number than what they have
Yeah.
proposed here.
Sure.
Can you live with that?
And have we used both in the past?
Yes,
For other products, but
Okay.
not for this.
not for this, right.
Okay,
But
so
both
We've
of them
done
are,
business with both companies.
not unfamiliar with them,
Right.
we know who they are, what they do, and satisfied both
Right.
with what both have done in the past, okay. Yeah, I would just encourage you to get a good handle.
Breakdown on.
yes,
Especially that, the hour, that 10 hours.
yeah,
And then I was reading it that it doesn't roll over if we don't use 10
Right.
hours. So it's a minimum of 10 hours, period, whether we use 10 hours or not, and it could be more.
mhm.
Yeah, and then 10 hours too.
Yeah,
And I would
Ten.
imagine at the beginning, you would probably be exceeding that number.
to get everything set up and, yeah.
10 hours at my pace or 10 hours at his pace?
Yes,
Two different things.
Right.
How much work gets done?
Well,
Yes,
and then
exactly.
I missed that completely about the cost on the scanning. At that point, I was like,
Well, this is kind
Go
of job
through it
one
again
for
with
you
your
and
highlighter.
Randall to research it and make sure y'all know what you're
yeah,
contracting for.
okay.
Any other suggested things for her to look into? Or mainly just the,
Yeah, I think
the
just double
add-ons.
check it.
Yeah,
Fees.
double check the add-ons.
We hate to not be able to, to set a definite limit and then you exceed that.
Right.
So, I mean, do we wanna give them the 50,000 or the full budget number that they're replacing in there?
Well, frankly, it's gonna be an estimate, I would suggest when you amend the budget, you transfer the entire salary of Jesse into this category. It doesn't mean that you're gonna authorize,
Yeah.
your contractor to spend it, but you will have it, if you get into those extra hours or whatever through the year,
Sure.
you'll have it in your budget. But for contract purposes, I think we should authorize her to negotiate one of these two contracts because the rest of it's gonna be add-ons throughout the year.
Sure.
But at a contract amount not to exceed $50,000. But probably next month, y'all want to amend your budget, those two, just flip the salaries into this line item. Would that work for you?
When would it become effective, these contracts? And in the new year
No, as of whenever we sign them.
Rather immediately, because there's a backlog
already?
that they haven't been getting this service
Yeah,
done.
and, according to comptroller rule, we have to maintain the map within 6 months of the transaction. So we have to make
How
sure,
far behind are we now?
just a couple of weeks.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, who wants to make a motion?
I only have three choices, so,
Remind him.
yeah. I think I'm looking for somebody to entertain a motion to authorize the chief appraiser to execute a contract with one of these two vendors after their research is complete at a cost not to exceed $50,000.
Okay. Well, Mr. President, I make that motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
And you have the gist of what we're approving and how y'all are gonna act accordingly. All those in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
That motion does carry. We didn't have a chance to study it, obviously. Y'all didn't have a chance to do your study and
Yeah.
then notify who you want to accept. Okay, item number 8 is Chief Appraiser's report.
I have those little goodies here, but these are the changes that y'all are supposed to look at, the 25 changes. Most of them are ownership changes, there's a couple of them where improvements moved from one account to another. There was some omitted properties on there,
Nothing out of the ordinary, it's,
not really. We have finished, all the hearings. We have, about, I think it's 12 arbitrations. We've had 5 lawsuits filed, so we will go forward with those and see what that brings.
explain to the board the process of when somebody was not satisfied with the ARB. what-
They have the 2 options. One option is to do binding arbitration, which they have an arbitrator come in and they present their case, just like they did with the appraisal review board. And then the arbitrator makes a decision. Then the second option they can do is actually to file a suit at district court. And so we have the We have an informal with Tractor Supply to try to settle outside of court on that one. That one's fixing to hopefully go away. The dealership outside of Castroville has filed suit, and we have an ag issue that's
This
filed
is
suit.
being recorded. Are you saying anything that's confidential, or this is all public
No, It's all
information?
public
Okay,
information.
okay, thank you.
That's it. I mean, we've got the attorneys are already handling them, they've already sent in the answers, and then we'll negotiate whether we settle out of court or go to district court.
Okay, and cost of legal counsel, if you settle out of court, each party pays their own attorney?
Mhm.
That's generally what your settlement's gonna be?
Yeah.
And if you go to court, then the judge will impose legal fees on one party or
We
the
have
other?
not ever had to go to court, so
Well,
I would
that's what I'm
assume
saying, in my
that, yeah.
10 years,
Yeah.
it's never happened, so.
Right, yeah, I'm assuming that that's what it would be, that the judge would decide the fees, if we would
Okay.
have to cut. Or I guess depending on how the suit's filed, if they file that they want us to pay their fees.
And this is in district court?
Mm-hmm.
Out of curiosity, was there a big jump in the appraised value on these properties that is caused this?
Yes,
Or is
it's-
it just
The
standard
dealership
operating
is the
procedure?
land on Highway 90. That went up quite a bit outside of Castroville.
No, Maxwell.
So that's the deal, it's the land prices, we increased quite a bit on the eastern part of Medina County on Highway 90.
What's an acre of land worth on Highway 90, east of Castroville?
Well, how many acres is it?
This is, well, we've got a price per square foot,
14?
no, it's $4 a square foot and it's about 8 acres.
Okay. Well, that, so you're talking $160,000 or $180,000 an acre?
That's Castroville?
Is that,
Yeah.
that's what it's going for?
Yeah, I sold a piece of property to one of the hamburger places, and they paid $450,000 for 1.8 acres. So, so a smaller parcel, but, that's why I was asking how large is the tract.
I think it's about 8
Right.
acres.
Yeah, so it's probably in line with what fair market value is. They obviously disagree with that.
Right, well, because it went up quite a
That
bit.
sounds like a deal to me over there, but I
Yeah.
don't sell much property over there, so.
Well, it's, it will
Be a
be.
nice time to have some.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt, but, yeah, highway, but it all depends on how much frontage, how deep it is,
Right.
the normal real estate issues, but, for something like that, I would imagine, the research has been done on both parties, and we'll let the, judicial system work it out.
Mhm.
The appraisal district has given their best effort to make it happen, so. So anyway,
Did they give a number of what they think? Or
They did
just-
not, they just didn't agree with our value.
Okay.
well, and that's outside of this board's issue, so
Mhm.
just report
It's
in,
just to let y'all know
when y'all
that-
finally
That we
get
had
it
one,
resolved.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
from this board standpoint, the legal expenses are the only real issue that come
Right.
into play.
It's the extend the budget on the. I think that's about it. We've started doing a little bit of, moving forward to 2024.
Okay. As you're thinking about 2024, of which I will just be looking in as an innocent observer, your appraisal review board just keeps getting bigger and bigger as far as how long it takes. Are you going to be ready to go to 2 teams, or?
Well, I was gonna try that this last year. I just have to figure out the logistics of it. That's
No, I
gonna be the
understand.
thing is,
But I would suggest
Yeah.
during your off-season,
yeah,
your off-season doesn't last very long, but I think you need to be looking at your options, because y'all were at the same from,
well, the worst part is when you have 5,000 protests and you have 1,200 hearings, so you have 3,800 scheduled appointments that they no-show. That's the problem.
But even
there's
those
no-
that showed,
And, well, because they have to be here. See, so we set those appointments, so they can sit 2 or 3 hours and have nobody come in the door. That's the worst part.
Is there no way around that from a legal standpoint?
Unless I just make appointments 3 or 4 deep, well, then you have 3 or 4 show up that are supposed to be here, then you're behind.
like they do at doctor's offices, they double
Yeah.
book because
It's just a matter of just trying to, like I
and
said,
if they all
it's the
show up,
logistics of
everybody's
it all.
mad.
Right,
They're mad anyway, so.
right.
Yeah,
And then they
But,
sit for 2 hours and then they're.
but
We tried, let's see, this season we double booked. And we still had quite a few no-shows and times that they didn't have anybody. The year before, we triple booked. And we had some that waited for long periods of time, but we also still had some that were no-shows. So, I mean, it's,
Yeah, sounds to me like you just gotta pick the sweet spot in the average there and go with it.
your budget for review was way over, so
Way
you're
over,
gonna have
yes.
to deal with that next year as well. And will you have to get the district judge to select your ARB members again? Okay, and y'all,
yeah, we're still in that. We didn't, once we reach 75,000, things will change. But we're at 51,000 right now.
okay, well, you probably ought to be proactive and get with them so that he has time to,
And we did, there was one of the, we actually had a volunteer that came to an ARB hearing, so I have her name to submit to him.
good.
Well, it'd be nice on those hearings is if you book it and don't show up, then $300 gets added to your taxes next year.
That's what we've said, you know, you would think if they would make it, if nothing else, a deposit, pay a deposit. You get your
Yeah.
deposit back, you show up, I mean, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that'd probably
But there's a
be-
legal
that'd probably be
statute
better.
that is,
That it
comes
does.
out of Austin, not,
Right.
that decision
Yeah.
can't be made, but it would be nice if they were booking appointments, that they would forfeit their deposit, but I don't think the comptroller's office has come up with that plan.
No.
So
Well, and I
anyway,
think a lot of it is people are just, they're upset when they get their notice, and so they just automatically file that protest, and then when they find out they've got to actually present a case, then they're like, oh, well,
I didn't sign up for that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that.
no, I get it.
So,
I had somebody several years ago got their bill. God almighty, I said, dude, you put in a pool.
yeah.
You went up because you added
You did something.
Yeah. And we got 25,000 on it and it cost you 150 to put
Right.
it in.
Yeah.
No, it's a touchy issue when you're talking about people's tax values, I get it, we all do. Anything else that you all want to ask your chief appraiser, any comments or suggestions going forward to next year?
Will you let us know if we're coming back next year?
I will let you know if we're coming back next year.
As she had said before, maybe before the meeting, the entities send in their votes and those votes are due by December 15th. But every entity is guaranteed, or every precinct is guaranteed somebody, or not necessarily?
No, it's the top 5 based on the votes. It's not even precinct, it's by entity.
So, but nobody nominates more than one,
Right.
but, so who all, but the county submits, in each school district, in
In each city.
and generally, the cities and the school don't necessarily
Usually they
communicate
have
with
the
each other.
same nominees. This year we have
Okay.
8 nominees this year. Or 8, yeah,
Okay,
nominations for 5 positions.
The paper will call you if you get elected, because they called me today, so.
who
Big
did?
statement, the newspaper. I guess it was approved at the city council
Yeah,
meeting, right?
Yeah,
But
but
that
it
doesn't
still
mean-
doesn't mean
No,
that you're
Depends
in.
on who.
So there's still a chance.
There's a chance that you, because, as they said, there are 5,000 votes,
Yeah,
and as those are cast by the various entities, D. Hennis won't have as many votes as Medina Valley, so Medina Valley and the county are guaranteed their 2 votes are gonna, because it's, it's a weighted average. And then generally, I would think the school district of Divine and Hondo are gonna have the next votes, wouldn't you think? And then it's a matter of the other entities and how their votes come in, I would think.
Yeah, and mine, I think it's Natalia and Lytle.
Okay,
Yes.
so anyway, once that comes in, is there an auditing process, or it's pretty simple to add them up and know who the top 5 are?
It's, yeah,
Okay,
count the votes.
okay, well, I would presume a courtesy to your current board would be the first call of
Yeah.
action, and then notify the press or however you go about that. You don't tell anybody, you just notify the 5, okay. Well, I would think you should notify the entity who notify every entity what the vote
They do, they
count.
get a letter
Do
and
they? Okay,
yeah,
that's perfect.
I have to send out the count that shows how many votes were,
Okay, well, why don't you send that letter to your board,
okay.
to CC your boards, I think they deserve to see that, and, okay, well, that, will be, kind of the next thing on your agenda besides your,
On amendment to the budget, can that be done January 9th?
I think by then
Yeah.
you'll know what you
Yeah,
ought to do
we'll have
between
it,
the
we should be
salary,
able to do it by
so-
then.
put that on
So
your.
we don't need to do it before the end of the year?
No, cause,
Okay.
yeah, I think we can amend the 24 really at any time.
Okay.
Cause it's not gonna change the bottom line, it's just moving line items.
We don't have anything for executive session. Well, I'm gonna say that after 10 years of coming to these meetings, it has truly been a pleasure, and serving with you all has truly been a pleasure. I appreciate y'all's cooperation and y'all's help in getting this done for the last year or 2. And I kind of, on the one hand, would like to say I wouldn't have told Medina Valley School that I wasn't up for reselection, but I made that decision. I have a wife.
You wanna keep it that way?
She helped me make that decision about 4 years ago. And when Jay last year said, or 2 years ago said that he wasn't gonna stand for re-election, I didn't think that it was fair to the district for he and I both to get off at the same time, because we'd both been on a long time. So I went home and broke the news to my wife. And as marriages go, I made a promise that was my last hurrah. So anyway,
Hope you'll still answer your phone.
So we don't,
I will.
we don't have a say in it, huh? Because
No,
I missed the vote on that one.
you nor I have a say in that. But it has truly been a pleasure, and I will assist any and all of y'all. If y'all ask, I will help. This is not 10 years worth of notebook, but it's a lot of board meetings in here, and it's probably in their file, but it'll probably be in my file. If I can be of assistance, that would be an honor for me to help y'all. So, and when the votes come in, as Jody said, I don't know if it's a curse or a congratulations when they say you're up again. It's almost a thankless job, but internally there's satisfaction in doing it, and it's satisfying to work with a good group of people and try to help the district get on down the road. But the citizens don't appreciate what is done here, and they don't understand what is done here. And that's the phone calls that we receive, is from the public that doesn't understand. And this is a complicated issue that the state of Texas asks of appraisal districts. It's tough for a board of directors, and it's tough for the staff that have to react to state law. But anyway, y'all continue to do well. I wish you well, and I thank you for your support.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Thank
Thank you for leading us
Yes.
and all your service.
Well,
Yes.
I won't be too far away. All right. And with that, I guess I will adjourn this meeting at 7:15.
Okay.